Hey, good morning, everybody. 24 minutes past 7 a.m. A new feature we've been teasing it the last couple of weeks. Want to try and give you some practical advice, some insight on ways to leverage what's going on out there in technology, online, and so forth with your business, with your life, your lifestyle. To be on the front edge, not the back edge of things. And joining me, Dustin Rivest, founder, App Innovators. You know the website, appinnovators.com. Dustin, good to see you. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. We have a lot of businesses here in town that that have been here for a very long time. This is an interesting community because even though you've got the colleges and universities, you still have. I'll just kind of call them an old school kind of a way of. This is kind of how we built and did our business. And making that transition into the digital era has been really challenging for them. What are some things that businesses need to absolutely be embracing right now, or they're losing business, they're being left behind?
You definitely hit it right on the head. There's a lot of third and fourth generation families of businesses here in Tallahassee. I see it every day. People call me my family, fourth generation welders. My wife works for Tallahassee Welding, and she's fourth generation welding company. So there's a lot of old business in Tallahassee, and a lot of folks are calling us and asking us, how do we step up? It's one of those things to where it's, the rule's always been, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, it's a little bit easier. It's not as easy to say that. It's more about, more efficiency and stuff like that, and how to make it easier.
Yeah, you might, everything might be just working fine, except that you're just getting lapped by your competitors if they're embracing the technology that's out there and some of the innovation that's out there.
Absolutely, and some of those things, believe it or not, I went to a barber shop the other day, and they didn't accept credit cards, and I was like, okay. So even something as simple as credit cards, people don't think about that as being technology, but look how that has made things so much easier for businesses to be able to accept payments. So I had to run out to the truck and get a check. Thank goodness I had one on me. But even things as email accounts. Some people are still using their business name at gmail.com instead of having a domain. If you had Preston Scott at gmail.com, that wouldn't be nearly as professional or up to the standards as things are today.
If you let's back up for a second. You say credit cards. Now credit cards are sort of they're splitting off into a lot of different areas. They're the chip readers. They're the swipe things, and you see people that plug that little device into their smartphone, and they do a little swipe on the top of their smartphone. Are devices out there now to read chips as well?
They're coming. They're coming. I mean, chips aren't even out. My credit card company hasn't even sent me my card yet with a chip, but. The chip is a huge security feature with hackers and things like that every day. Security is such a big issue. But a lot of the main top card readers like Square, I think Intuit QuickBooks has another payment reader that if you go to the farmer's market and want to buy something, and some of the people are actually being able to pay with credit cards out there.
When you mentioned domain name, you mentioned email. Is it just a matter of the email just gives you that added level of credibility?
It does. It's there's no real rule of thumb here, but it just adds that little bit more of credibility to what you're doing. It looks a little bit more professional.
What are some of the other things that businesses probably need to be thinking about that a lot of the mom and dad shops that have been here for generations may not be thinking of?
Well, one, we talked about it last time on the show with the websites. A lot of people have websites, but they haven't looked at it necessarily on their phone or on their iPad lately. That's where 80+% of traffic is being done right now. So you need to look at your website and see how it functions on.
80%?
I think it's closer to 84-85% of all web traffic.
Is now being driven mobilely?
Yes.
That's remarkable. So what do people do in response to that? They just have to look at their website through the eyes or the lens, if you will, of the smartphone?
Exactly. We're a mobile-first company, and we primarily build mobile apps, but we've had a lot of inquiries about building websites. And when we go to build websites, our whole team stops and says, what does it look like on a phone before we even talk about what it's going to look like on a desktop? Because that's where everybody's going. They're looking for information on their phone.
And so optimizing the website for mobile use is one of the most important things. If you've got a website that you've got to do, there are people, though, listening that don't have websites.
Yes, absolutely, and that's something you definitely need to get on. Think about how many times you probably say the word, I'm going to Google this or I'm going to Google that every day. Well, if you don't have a website, you're probably not popping up on Google.
One of the things that I hear a lot of people say to me is they go, well, but Preston, I don't sell widgets. I don't sell stuff that people can buy online. What's the argument for a service industry, for example, to be online?
For example, White's Plumbing. When you need a plumber, you Google, I need a plumber. Plumber near me. People who have a plumbing company who has a website is going to pop up right there, and you can have that information one-click calling right then and there.
So the advantages are simply that of it's the modern day Yellow Pages. People don't open up the book anymore. They Google, they search.
Well, I think we've all seen how small that book gets every year. It gets
Right.
smaller and smaller and smaller. And I would probably lean to guess in 4 or 5 years you won't see them anymore.
One of the things that I've had a lot of fun doing, telling people about App Innovators, is reminding folks it's right here. You're not going to
Yep.
Silicon Valley. There are people that you can see, touch, and talk to right here in town. Give everybody just a little snapshot of what you're doing.
It's great. We literally just hired 6 more people. We get calls every day from, an app for their business or an app for a celebrity, an app for, we talked about the other day having an app for you guys.
Right.
So it's an interesting and emerging business, but everybody has some sort of app idea or say, oh, I wish there was an app for this or I wish there was an app for that. And they don't know who to call.
The most important thing that a business owner, manager, somebody in a decision-making position could do right now, though, would be to just sort of look at their website.
Absolutely.
Is that the starting point and then let everything flow from that? Or is it, like you mentioned, something as simple as make sure you're accepting credit cards and get that email address done?
I definitely think the website is one of the biggest things. I like to tell people websites are all about acquisition and apps are about retention. How are you going to acquire that customer? When they go to search for something, are you going to pop up in that list and be in the top 2 or 3 listings for you to get them? Now, once they go to your website, you can prompt them to download an app. Once they have an app, they're in your pocket. So now you're more of on a retention basis. Now you can reach out to them. They can stay up to date with what you're doing, or your prices, or your specials, things like that.
And folks, over the course of doing these segments, and again, every Tuesday at this time, we've got Dustin coming in the program, and we're going to be talking about different facets of how to really leverage the technology for your business and to make it work for you. If you've got questions, send them to me, Preston at WFLAFM.com. Dustin, good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good day.
All right, we got news. It's 31 minutes past 7. When we come back, the big story in the press box, there's going to be a boycott of the Oscars. Gee, what a surprise. A little drama leading up to the big day. We'll talk about why it's silly next on 100.7 FM WFLA.